Hi everyone, my name is Tirza. Today I'm going to be talking about dating and knowing when you're ready to date and how dating should be in the Orthodox Church and kind of just the Orthodox view on dating and what that means. So let's get into it. So I know there's a lot of single young people coming into the Orthodox Church. I myself and my husband are basically been raised in the Orthodox Church, but there's a lot of young people that are coming from Protestantism or maybe even no religious background. And I just thought I'd shed some light on advice that was given to my husband and I when we were dating, and also just general knowledge that I've gleaned from being Orthodox. One of the biggest questions that you have to ask yourself is, are you ready to date? Not everyone is in a place emotionally, spiritually, mentally to be in a relationship. You have to be a stable person yourself and confident and comfortable in your own skin, and also have a solid, healthy, good relationship with God. If you're not really sure where you stand on things, that's really not good, because it just means that you're going to be going into your relationship not knowing who you are, and your partner will not know who you are. The second thing is, in the Orthodox Church, we kind of don't like calling it dating, we just call it courting. I think because we're trying to create a distinction between dating just to date and just to kind of like have fun, and then dating because you're wanting to get married and you want it to end in a life-lasting relationship. To start with, one of the biggest things first that you should be doing is you should be asking your priest or your spiritual father if they think you're in a place to begin dating, because they'll know where you're at spiritually and whether or not that'll be helpful or actually harmful to you and where you are in your spiritual walk. Another big thing is just to pray, to ask God. When you're in the beginning stages of looking for someone, ask God to reveal someone to you who would be a good match for you. And it might be the first couple people that you meet are not a good match for you. So this is where one of the things that my husband and I did before meeting each other, but also during meeting each other, is we did a acquaintances to Saint Xenia. We would do at least a section of it every night, if not the whole thing. This is a really amazing resource because Saint Xenia is just an amazing saint to intercede for all kinds of things relating to family life, but she is especially for couples and people seeking marriage and relationships. So once you think you've found somebody, one thing to do is to talk to your priest and to let them know that you're possibly looking at being in a courting where you can kind of just say like, hey, I like you and let's see if we're a good match. Sometimes something that can be really helpful is to have your priest and that other person's priest talk and see if you guys would be a good match, especially as things begin to progress and get more serious about your relationship. So now that you have the blessing of your priest and their priest, maybe of this person that you're interested in, something else to keep in mind is that you don't know that you will end up with this person. You are just having an interest in this person and trying to seek to see if you guys would be a good match. So with that being said, you need to proceed with caution and respect for this other person. You should not be, super physical with this person or talking about things about like, I'm going to marry you, I'm going to be with you forever. Because here's the thing, you don't know that. I know of people who have been engaged and called off their relationship because it just wasn't working or it wasn't what they expected. That's a big thing, is that you need to have respect and honesty in your relationship with each other, because you're just interested in each other, and honestly you might not even know that much about each other at this point. And so proceed with caution and just keep in mind that you might not end up with this person, and if that's God's will, then that's what's best. One way that is very helpful when you're first getting to know someone is to spend a lot of time with them, not only in group settings. For multiple reasons, it's just much better to spend, especially the first interactions that you're having with someone, in groups, because to be honest, it helps prevent the chance of you guys being too physical, which is a real temptation. But not just that, it's also really great for you to see how this person interacts with their family and with their friends, because that's when you're going to see their most transparent self. it's really easy when you're doing one-on-one dating with someone to kind of put your best foot forward, which of course we want this person that we like and have an interest in to see our best side. But it's also really good and very important if you're seeking to have a long lasting ending in marriage relationship with this person, that you see them from all angles and different situations. Also, when you spend time together, try to make time to talk about quality things and interactions. Make sure you're actually really spending time to get to know this person, because you are seeking to see if you want to be with this person for the rest of your life. So now you're at a point in your relationship that you really like this person, you feel like you guys are working really well together, and you're really seeking to take your relationship a couple steps further. 3 things that you should really consider and seriously think about, which is hard when you're in love with somebody and you just want to be with them and, have found the right one. Especially as Orthodox Christians, it's very hard to find other Orthodox Christians sometimes that are single. So I understand that difficulty. But there's 3 things that you really need to ask yourself when you're in this relationship with somebody. So I'm going to call these the 3 C's. The first one is, are you compatible? Truly and honestly, you have to be honest with yourself. Are you guys compatible in your relationship? Are there really glaring things that either family or friends or even yourself are just saying, wow, this is a trait of this person that I just can't stand or I can't handle? And that being said, some of these things that feel like that aren't exactly life or death things, but some of them are things that, wow, I don't think I could actually spend forever doing, this with this person, or that this person, has this trait that just drives me crazy and I feel like I want to wring their neck every night. These are things that are actually very important to take a look at and to comprehend whether or not these are make it or break it points in this relationship. You need to communicate with each other. So it's really important that you communicate, that you share your views on things, your desires, your goals in the future. If you as a woman would like to have a career and you're not going to want to stay at home with the children, that's very important for you to share that with this other person, because maybe they're expecting that you will stay at home. And vice versa, if, as a man, you are expecting your wife to stay at home all the time, then you need to communicate that, because again, the woman could be not expecting that. And it is really important that you are coming together, especially when it ends in marriage, on the same page and communicating with each other. And that'll also bleed into your married life later on. You will actually communicate with each other and talk to each other, because once you get down the road and you're married to each other and you have children and you're a family, it's so important that you have these habits of communicating with each other. And the 3rd one is caution. So like I've been saying, you really don't know that you're going to end up with this person basically until you are literally at marriage with the wedding crowns on your head. And so that being said, it's really important that you proceed being cautious of your physical relations with each other and your emotional relations with each other, your dependency on each other emotionally and mentally, just mentally not going down the tangent of, okay, I am really going to spend forever with this person. And it's also really important to be communicating with your priest and also to know what resources you can use to work on your dating relationship and in the future on your marriage, and maybe even doing a little research on children. I have some really good books here that were very helpful, or even after being married, I thought would be really helpful. The first one is this book. It's called The Two Become One. It's a really great book for engagement to marriage, but it's also really good even after you're married. There's some really helpful advice in there. It's well written, and you can even read it if you're single. So just kind of seeking to set those guidelines of what dating and engagement should look like as an Orthodox Christian. The second book that is really good, I read this a good amount when my husband and I were dating, is St. John Chrysostom's book on marriage and family life. This also has a lot of really good guidance. also a great book even after you're married to keep reading. And then these last two are kind of more when you're really headed towards engagement and marriage, but they're still really good and interesting to read, I think, and have bits that apply no matter what situation you are in life because of the way that they talk about relationships. So this one is really good. It's called Parenting Towards the Kingdom. Again, it kind of just makes more sense for people that are really like on the road to marriage or having children, but it's got some really good information for how to deal with relationships in general in your life. And this one's also really good from St. Pius. It's called Family Life. This one's also really good for married couples and just understanding family dynamics. So just a few thoughts on myself as a married woman, some things that I felt like were really good and very helpful and important that my husband and I did while we were dating. One thing is my husband and I dated we knew each other for about 5 years before getting married, and we dated for about 3 years, 2.5, 3 years. So we spent a good amount of time with each other, and we also for a time worked at the same place, so we were able to spend a lot of time like right there with each other in difficult situations. And I think it was really good for us to understand what each of us was like in stressful situations or difficult or sad situations. And it's really important that you know what this other person is going to be like in those situations, because marriage and especially having children comes along with a lot of those kinds of things that you have to overcome and work through as a couple together. So it's really important that you know that you guys can work together on some of those things. Not that you're perfect, but that you can at least continue to work together. We also spent a lot of time praying. As I mentioned, we did the acquaintances to Saint Xenia quite often, and even the acquaintances to the Mother of God. I think this praying really helped a lot. Another thing to remember is, like I said, you might not be in a position where you are ready to date. So maybe you found someone that you're very interested in. This happened with us, where I had an interest in my husband before we started dating for quite a while. But both of us were just not in a position to date, and we just weren't ready for dating. And I'm so thankful that God didn't let it work out actually when I had wanted it to, because I was just pretty immature and I was just not in a place to actually be able to have a quality relationship that would have helped me and Nick. One last thing is God will provide. No matter what age you are, there's never lost hope. God knows where you're at and what will be best for you and what timing it'll be good for you. And so don't lose heart if you're a little bit older and God hasn't provided you someone. I know people who didn't find anyone until their late 30s or later. And so don't ever lose heart, because God knows what is good for us and what is needed. One thing you need to keep in mind, especially if you're an Orthodox Christian, is that in the Orthodox faith, traditionally speaking, you are not supposed to marry anyone who is not Orthodox, not baptized an Orthodox Christian. There are exceptions, and I know people that have had exceptions to this rule, but it's technically speaking not supposed to be that way, and it's also very dependent on your priest and your bishop. So ideally, you should be seeking someone who is at least interested in becoming Orthodox or already Orthodox if you're wanting to pursue that relationship. If you know of anyone who is seeking a relationship as an Orthodox Christian, be sure to share this video with them. Help them glean some content on maybe ways that, from my experience, they can help have a profitable, beneficial, and ending in a marriage relationship. I hope this video was helpful for you, and I hope you learned something. If you have any questions, feel free to put them down in the comments and I will answer to the best of my ability. If you liked this video, please hit that like button down below and subscribe to this channel for more great content. I'll see you next time. God bless.